evening to you, and thank you so much for staying tuned to Y254 TV. I hope you're having a lovely, lovely day. And I am your host, Cheryl Blessing. As usual, this is the Power Talk Show, and we're just about to start. This evening, I'm excited about the conversation we're having because it's something that we've talked about, but we've never really tried to understand what causes this and some of the ways that we perpetrate it in society. So I want us to confront rape culture this evening on the Power Talk Show. This is something that we've been witnessing more and more in the past few years. And in the past few days, the cases that we've come across are just very, very scary. So we need to understand what is rape culture and how can we stop rape culture. So I'm joined live on set by two amazing ladies who are going to give us some insight on this conversation. I'll start with Dr. Kizi Shako, who is a forensic media practitioner, medical practitioner. Sorry.
Okay,
yeah. Ukwaje?
I'm fine, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here.
I'm good. I'm grateful. I'm happy I'm here.
Awesome.
Sindio.
Yes.
And next to Dr. Kizi, we have Marion Halil, who is a media and she's a journalist student. Nilikuwa hapo kidogo, media na medical.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah. But how are you, Marion?
I'm fine. I'm honored to be here, and you all look amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Ata
I'm so happy.
What's
Thank you.
Kanani warembo?
Very. We cannot
Beautiful.
argue against that.
Yeah.
Period.
That's the slogan of today's show.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, but I want us to talk about this serious conversation because rape culture is something that we've been witnessing more and more. GBV, especially targeted towards women, domestic violence, all those forms of sexual assault. We want to tackle that on the show this evening. So I want you to go to our social media platforms at Y254 across all socials and let me know, do you think the music we listen to, the media we watch, the movies we watch, do you think they help to further fuel rape culture? Does it affect it in any way? Do the jokes we make, the music and the media, fuel rape culture? Go on our platforms at Y254 and let us know. And I just want to tell you, this is a safe space. So this evening, I want us to have very candid conversations and figure out how we can deal with this thing that it's been coming up more and more in society today. And I don't think 10 years from now, this should be something that we should be dealing with. So I want to start off by just figuring out what is rape culture, because this is something that when we talk about it sounds so serious, so extreme, but so many people do not understand. So let me get it from the expert. Dr. Kizi, what would you say rape culture is?
So rape culture is, to put it very simply, is the normalization of issues around sexual violence, and particularly rape. So rape refers to the forceful engaging in sexual relations with a person against their will, without consent. Or in the case of children, if we talk about defilement, children cannot consent. But so when this happens with a child, then it becomes defilement. So when our society normalizes these kinds of activities and other forms of violence as well, like emotional violence, psychological violence, and other ways, other forms of violence used to oppress those who are viewed as the lesser people in society. That is where we get this rape culture from. So you hear jokes being made about it. It's not something to joke about, really. It's a very serious issue. You find many times you'll sit in your circles and you'll hear someone talking about how they heard someone being raped or violated and they did nothing. This lack of willingness to intervene because it's none of your business. You're just allowing and enabling this to proceed. And the other issue that I've noticed that also promotes this culture is the lack of adequate intervention by service providers, adequate intervention at policy level, and the leaders. Leaders play a very big role in directing the nation in a certain way. So when leaders are quiet, when things like these are happening, it's very concerning. They should be heard loudly and clearly stating that this is a zero tolerance to sexual offenses or sexual abuse country. Those are the kinds of things we need to hear and see even in state buildings, in different institutions. It should be very clear. But we have, because we're in a patriarchal society, issues to do with women are just heard. You'll hear them saying, oh, hiyo ni vitu za wamama. you know, wanawake to these women problems.
Yeah.
And not being given the seriousness it deserves.
Yeah, I love that definition because that's very, very clear. It's not just about the act of physically defiling someone.
Yeah.
It's every single small action,
Yeah.
the sexual assault, the emotional violence,
Yes.
everything that it leads to rape eventually. All of that is part of the rape culture.
Yes.
And we've been seeing that more and more in Kenya. Last year, femicide was mentioned as it became a national issue. And women have been talking about it for years, but still, it's still being perpetrated. Nothing has been done. The way Dr. Kizi is saying, the leaders are not speaking up. And it trickles from the policy level to every single place that requires people to actually give guidance from the education systems. In classes, we don't really have sexual education in Kenya. When you go to the local counties, there's nothing that has really been defined as you know, like a facility, a department that's going to handle that by itself. It just goes under GBV, it goes under family issues, but it's much more than that. And when I think about assault towards women, it happens every day. Without it getting to rape, it happens every single day. Women are actually assaulted verbally, physically, emotionally. Marion, do you think it's been normalized in society? Do you think it's become something that we've just taken it into stride and we've said this is something that happens and we just move with it?
Yeah, sure. I'll say it's something that has been normalized. In a case of like, I'm a girl, I'm just walking on the road, I'm going to get something, I'm going to buy something, and then a boda man, a conductor, a man just from nowhere, hey ma'am, hey miss, it's oh hey madam, you're my type, you're everything. I'm just walking, literally. I am not here. I don't know why you're sexualizing me, you're objectifying me. The first thing you see a woman and you think she's an object, it's so wrong. I mean, see me for who I am, see me for the girl that I am. I'm not an object, I'm not a piece. You see? So when people have normalized that, it's so unfair in the society because it makes a society that we feel it needs to be safe for us. It's not because you'll find like some girls cannot even walk out alone because it's scary, because someone is gonna say something that it will piss them off completely. And yeah, we have normalized it and it's not okay, it's not fair.
It's so not okay.
Yeah, it's
and
okay.
Unaona, I like that you've said that from the comments. When is size yangu? Wewe nikikupata.
When nikikupata my
Yo,
time.
you know the people who said nikikupata kona mbaya, and I'm like, wow, that's you've threatened me. Basically, you'll rape me if you get me somewhere and there's no one around. And in America, a few years back, we saw the Me Too movement. It became popularized, and that's when we had the policies changing. But clearly, it did not trickle down to every other nation. Because right now, when you go to America, the way you'll speak to a woman, you have to be careful from the corporate fields to the societal fields, everywhere, even on social media. When you reference a woman, when you speak to a woman, you have to be very careful about your wording. But in Kenya, I'll go on social media and women are given all sorts of derogatory terms, you know, sexualized and given names that, I don't know. So, Dr. Kezi, tuko mbali bado. Sijui tutafika aje penye we actually, we take action. But why is it normalized in Kenya? Because you've said we live in a patriarchal society. So sexism has always existed. But why is it in the past few years we've witnessed more and more cases of people becoming bold in their violence against women, people becoming, you know, they're taking action. I've seen men raping 1-year-old babies, infants. What has emboldened these people to get to the point where they feel like, I'll do something and nothing will happen to me?
Well, first of all, the patriarchy is a massive part of it. And the conversations that men have with each other. I say men because 90% or more of perpetrators are men. And about 90% of victims are women and children. And so men play a huge role in this issue, and they can equally play a role in preventing this issue from taking place, just from the things they say with each other, discuss with each other. You hear a guy referring to a woman as the prostitute, you know, meaning he's insulting her, or, you know, all sorts of names that are really unpleasant, very derogatory terms, and no one says anything about it. Not the elders in the room, not the leaders in the room, no one, they just let it continue. And that's what we should stop. It needs to be nipped in the bud. But it takes a whole society to do this, and enforce it and keep repeating it until you see a change taking place.
It does.
Yeah.
Because Africa in the past, women were respected. Women were protected. You know,
they were protected.
Yeah, men will come together to fight and defend women.
Yeah.
But then it got to a point where women became sexual objects. And I don't know if also we as women play a role in it. Because I'm also curious. I saw a clip the other day, and people were talking about this, of a leader, a female leader in her constituency. The men told her, turn around, let us see you're behind.
I hope she didn't turn.
That was so bad.
She did.
She did.
And this is a leader. When we hear, we've had the case of a national school. A male teacher has been reported for perpetrating multiple crimes against, you know, just getting girls and basically, what's it called, grooming them into his toys or whatever. And I've seen women on social media saying, when male teachers go to female schools, you should be careful because the women will trick you, the girls will trick you. So, Marion, do you think women have also played a role in furthering rape culture? Have we encouraged it to some extent?
I feel like once you're a victim, we cannot blame you for being a victim. We cannot blame you for being raped. We cannot blame the victim for anything they have done. You woke up, you went wherever you're going, and then something happened to you. We cannot go beyond victimizing you. You're already the victim in this position. And yes, okay, I feel to some extent we are our own enemies, because the other day I saw online, there was a video of a girl, she was almost raped, and then in the comment section, it was girls saying, oh, it's the way she's dressing, or it's how she looks, she doesn't respect herself. So that, I can say to some extent, we are also our own enemies. If we were preaching one language and saying, we are fighting against this, it doesn't matter what happened for you to be raped or how bad the situation was, we cannot blame the victim. So yeah, in one way or another, we are pushing this because, okay, there are other women, okay, maybe marriage or something, and they condone being beaten, because I had someone say, oh, a woman can't act right if she hasn't been beaten, and some women are condoning that, honestly, or we cannot act right, there's someone who needs to put us in place, and it's so wrong. I feel like we should not normalize that culture. We are not our own enemies. We're not fighting against each other. We are fighting for one thing, and I feel like we should preach that voice. We should have that one voice. It should not be us against us. So I feel so bad when I hear a victim being victimized for being in that situation. And you'll find a woman is saying that. I'd be like, really, honestly, you're a woman, you should be supporting a girl child. In as much as it was bad and she was wearing one, no, we should just preach one thing.
Thank you for that.
Yeah,
Thank you for that, because it's really answered two questions that I had. The victim shaming,
Yeah.
sometimes it comes from us, and we encourage it to some extent.
Honestly,
and also we need to stand firmly behind it. It doesn't matter what the woman did. When a woman has been sexually assaulted, when a woman has been violated, the response, whoever responded however they did, that is on them. It is not about whoever acted. Your response is on you. She may have acted in a certain way, then take the right course of actions to get the matter solved. But perpetrating violence is never the solution.
Honestly.
I love that. And also the victim shaming, because victim shaming is something that it's normalized. And that's why we don't have more women coming up and saying, me too, I experienced the same thing. Because the minute you speak up, you'll be sexualized. They'll say you put yourself in that situation. You allowed yourself to be compromised. And no one allows themselves to be compromised.
For sure, for sure.
Dr. Kizzy, from your perspective, because I know you've worked with so many people who've experienced one form of assault or another, how do you deal with the victim shaming? How do you get them to overcome that and teach people that this was not the person at fault? The perpetrator is the one at fault.
Okay. but first allow me to just go back to the previous question. Another thing that emboldens these perpetrators to perpetrate, to hurt others, is the numerous cases you hear of cases being dropped, insufficient evidence, or they were released on bail, bond, and God knows what else happens across the service provider institutions that leads to this perpetrator or suspect not being held accountable. We do know that there's corruption across the various institutions. I don't know how deep it is, but that plays a very big role in people just feeling like they can do whatever they want and get away with it. You can't touch me. In fact, I can't count how many women and children told me, alisema siwezi fanya kitu, and go give it your best shot, there's nothing that you're going to do. So that the public's opinion on and hope for the institutions not going to execute their duties is also a problem, because then these people who have these intentions can do it freely, knowing that, or feeling or thinking that nothing will happen to them. Another big problem is that we don't really have like DNA databases which can be used to even identify serial offenders. Sex offenders tend to repeat this offense many times over. So if we had a database, then it would be easier to identify them and stop them. But if there is no way of knowing this person is a serial rapist, then it can become a problem. Or even analyzing samples from 10, 20 years ago, if that can't be done and the DNA, sort of goes into a database, then it sort of reduces this information can be used for preventive purposes. So hopefully that's something we're going to see soon.
I love that. And that also speaks on the importance of technology.
Yes,
when it comes to these different fields. Because once you have a record, sometimes I like watching the crime shows and all that. So there was one guy who was a serial rapist, and he will do it in one town and then he moved to a different town. So because of the patterns, they could keep track and they could say, okay, there is some consistency in the way this is, the crime is done. And then having the DNA, because his DNA sample from 3 years back is what got him caught, later. Because we need to have some advancements. And you've spoken of the legal limitations that we have. We have, like, even with the education sector, I think with the curriculum, there's also some limitation, because we are not taught enough about sexual assault. When you're kids, because I remember being in high school, and people talk, we get information from either friends
from
or
everywhere.
media, all those things. So sometimes you may be assaulted, but you may not know that you're experiencing assault. And I think that's the case when we came across the story of the national school. I saw so many comments of people saying, you have no idea. If you go to the smaller regional schools, the cases are much worse. So, Marion, how do you know? How can you tell when you're in a situation where you're experiencing assault or it's leading to assault? How can you tell? What are some of the signs that you pick up on and you realize, oh, I probably have to speak to someone, or I have to get myself out of this situation?
Yeah, you mentioned something and saying some people who are victims, they don't know where to go, they don't know what to do after they've been assaulted. They really don't know they were going through an assault, right? So it just needs a little bit of being self-aware and, understanding yourself and knowing this is not right with me. Okay, a lot of people cannot speak up for themselves, and it's so sad. I see, in this generation, in our generation, people talk. You'll share to a friend, you'll share to someone, but now in a situation where you don't have someone to share to, that's so bad. But I feel like being self-aware and just understanding yourself and just knowing this is bad, this is good, so this needs to stop. And I feel like you said, we need to have this civic education in schools, because some people don't know they're going through assault until it's out there, or until it's something like a rape case for someone to understand, oh, so this is an assault. So we need that education for people to know, even you doing to me, that is assaulting me. And people don't know that. So I feel like we need that civic education for people to understand better that gender-based violence is just beyond rape. It's
Yeah.
more than that. There's more to that.
I love that.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's the thing. How can we create awareness? Because it's so easy for us to say we need to create awareness. Because you know, I
sure.
think when you become more mature, right now, fortunately, we have social media and technology. So I can easily just look up some of the things. I'm aware because I'll hear people talking about it.
Yeah.
But I had a case of some sisters, a few siblings, their father will constantly assault them.
Sad.
So the one day the eldest sister, the father came to assault her. And this was rape, and he will do it consistently. So the one day the eldest daughter was like, no, you cannot do this. And she went to report, came back and found that the father was assaulting a younger sister.
Sad. That's
And
so
you know,
sad.
sometimes cases like this happen. We've had so many cases of even, it starts as someone touches you.
Yeah,
Someone takes a
grooming.
photo, maybe an uncle, you're wearing a skirt, a dress, and they take a photo, you know, just to see things.
Yeah.
It starts like that. So Dr. Kizi, what do you think we can do? How can we implement from the lowest level, let's say from even kindergarten, from pre-primary, how can we implement lessons so that we get and lead up to how we can make changes in the legal institutions? How do we make changes in the curriculum? What can we do to teach people, especially, you know, I actually hate this conversation of teaching girls.
Yeah.
No,
I don't
it's
think
not a girl thing.
It's not a girl
not
thing. We need to
exactly.
teach the men.
Yeah.
We need to teach the boys. I feel like that's where
It's
we need
very
to be.
frustrating to hear that. How
Exactly.
can we prevent being raped?
You can't.
You
Because
can't.
the only way we can
Yeah.
prevent is telling the perpetrators to
perpetrators,
respect
honestly.
women.
Yeah.
Women should be valued. So how can we teach our young boys so that when they grow into men, they understand that I need to protect a woman?
Yeah, well, first of all, you know, they say a child learns from what they see around them.
Sure.
You can't tell them this is bad. They'll also need to see you not doing that bad thing. You understand?
Yeah.
You also need to, you become your environment. So if your environment is full of violence and this, you know, careless use of words towards women, that's the kind of music you listen to, the kind of movies you're watching, this is what will influence children. And the way maybe the father will address the son or address his daughter, the way the mother is, their relationship, is it oppressive or not, all these things shape the way a boy child or girl child are going to grow up and the issues they'll tolerate. So you'll find that many survivors, child survivors of abuse, end up in abusive relationships, either as perpetrators or as victims.
Yeah.
And so a lot of this is going to take place at home. The home is a very, very important environment that will shape the way this child becomes. And also in school, I think for education, you know, it's a very controversial topic, but I think age-appropriate sex education would be very, very helpful, because you'll be shocked how many women learned how to get pregnant. They learned how pregnancy happens. When they are adults and they've been thrown into a marriage, they don't know anything. I mean, can you imagine being 21 and you don't know how pregnancy occurs?
That's
How that,
insane.
yeah. And I think, you know, because children are really exploited a lot, especially the girl child when they're going through their menses and with issues to do with getting sanitary towels, clothes, innerwear and all that. That creates an avenue for exploitation, especially by people like what we hear of a lot is border riders, teachers, teaching staff and all that. If they have the education and they are shown avenues for reporting, they understand what abuse is. Very many survivors don't know they've been abused. Many married women don't know they are being raped right now. Many men don't know they are raping. They actually don't know. I remember sitting with some guys and just having a conversation about it, and they were like, I've never raped anyone. And I say, you've never forced someone to do this, when they're saying no. And there was silence. And I was like, there you go.
There
So
you
I
have
think
it,
it's a universal education is required to empower women and girls to know what abuse is, even boys, you know, this is what abuse is.
Sure.
And this is when you do this, you are abusing someone and you should not do that.
Yeah.
So it needs, you know, multi-sector kind
Ile
of approach
talks.
to yeah
Dialogue.
exactly,
Some
so that
multinational
and age appropriate.
gender,
Yes.
yeah.
Another thing is self-defense. You are asking her about how to know you are in danger.
Yes.
So self-defense training, which is not martial arts, I must emphasize it's not martial arts. Self-defense training is where you're taught by trainers who have, self-defense trainers to assess your environment and know whether you're in danger or not. If you go through this training, you will avoid having to be, having an altercation in the first place because you're already aware, here I'm in trouble, I need to exit.
Yeah.
And you're equipped with skills to know how to exit. You don't want to end up in a physical fight with someone. That's the last option. You're also taught when to just give in and not fight back because you don't want to die in the process. So there's a time to fight, there's a time not to fight and other such things. So it's very, very helpful.
It is. And I think women for sure need to invest in self-defense.
Absolutely.
Classes. That's something we need to, from the get-go. I think the older I get, I realize that. Just carry pepper spray wherever you go.
Which is illegal. I wonder why.
It shouldn't be legal at this
It
point.
shouldn't be legal. At this point, we need like cans.
should
We
be
need a place
legal.
of refilling the pepper sprays. But then
true.
it's so funny that you've mentioned that so many men do not know their perpetrators.
Yeah.
Because
They
that
don't.
is so true. I've also had a conversation with some friends of mine, and boys are taught no is not
Is yes.
no is yes.
She's
And I
just
understand
playing,
that.
she wants to be begged.
You know,
Yeah.
and these conversations, those are the things that they encourage men to
continue,
do what they
you know.
want. Exactly. Sometimes it comes from the guys who are telling them that. Sometimes it's also the women who are telling them that. But then, should we have honest conversations? Marion, do you think we need to sit our guy friends down and talk to them and tell them, let me tell you, you need to respect women because of this, this, and that. Do we need to maybe initiate these conversations among our friend groups? Is that something that you see can probably help prevent cases in future?
Honestly, it's something that we've done before in our friend group. Sometimes you sit down and you're like, no, that was bad. You didn't have to talk like that. You didn't have to say that way. You didn't have to refer to a woman like that. I was telling you a jinga, bro. You have a sister. You have a mother. You have an aunt. You have a cousin. You have me as your friend. Do you feel like you're okay? The same way you the same way you framing that women you are jinga. I'm also in that frame. Your mom is in that frame. So it's something that we should put in conversations. Like, do you know when you say this and this and this, you hurt a woman? Do you know this and this and this is toxic? This is some toxic masculinity. Do you know when you frame like this? Don't frame like that. Your statement might be right, but it's the way you framed it. It felt wrong. So the conversations are so much needed amongst ourselves. Like, we're just joking around, but I'm telling you something that is true because you may not know. And it's so true. Sometimes someone may never know they have a bad behavior until someone points it out. They not know until you say it, and then they're like, oh, so this and this was hurting someone. So such person will have saved a soul. By just having those conversations, you would have redeemed someone. So it's important.
And
it's
male
important.
champions as well.
Exactly.
Because men will listen more to men. That's what I've observed personally. That's not research, but it's what I've observed. If there's a man in authority in a given space, they will internalize what that person is saying, as opposed to women who are like, they're just making noise.
Because you can be an expert on the matter, but but then when a man comes in, they'll become more attentive.
Yes,
exactly.
I feel like the men should also talk about this. It should not be a women topic. It should not be something that we are fighting for. I feel like when there are more males talking about it, it will hit right.
It's more impactful. Because as I've said, it's a patriarchal society. We like to, I think it's we romanticize the idea of us having like equal rights and us being respected. But then you walk into some rooms and then you realize you may be the expert, but the men in that room will not take you as an expert. They'll just sexualize you and they're like, sasa udem atatuambia nini? And we want to get into that. How can we get away from that mentality? And honor women, respect women, protect the women in our society. We are confronting rape culture this evening. I want you to go to our platforms at Y254 and tell us, do the jokes we share, the media we consume, the movies we watch, the music we listen to, does it fuel rape culture? Go on our platforms at Y254 and let us know. We're going to sample your questions and your comments after the break, so stay tuned for that.